What is up everyone, it's TK and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the best ground or maybe the best strategy in general for Clash of Clans. And obviously I'm not proud of myself when bringing you this army, but I want to give you some tips and tricks with the Root Riders, and you can already see the equipment that we are going to be running with these exact heroes. Now some of you may be saying, well TK, we don't have the minion prints, it's either upgrading or we just don't want to use it, we don't know how to use it. Well, this video is going to be the best guide for you, so let's dive in and see how this strategy is played in Legends League. So, our first attack, I'm gonna be bringing you a double invisibility base. Now guys, this exact army is a combination of Ghost and Crispy's army. So I made these two armies together because I believe Ghost's army with the Root Riders was stronger, but Crispy's method of using 2 Rage and the recall with that Overgrowth is working against most of the bases. So I never saw any problems with that, and I've never failed with this strategy, and it's incredible. It's crazy. But obviously I was doing a lot of dragon attacks. Now I'm coming to ground because of hard mode mainly, so I'm able to do some certain practices based regarding basically, and hard mode is, yeah, it's a bit tough, so that's what I'm doing. Now we're going with the giant arrow. As always on every single strategy, you need the giant arrow. There's no way you go into Legends League without a giant arrow in these days, because obviously every base has that invisibility tower. I mean, even if they don't, you can still use a giant arrow for certain damage, and also use the healers for the queen walk on the outside. Now I'm going to freeze for that kind of spell tower so it doesn't go off too early, and you can see now this is where I'm like, okay, I can see the Root Riders going around the core, so what I'm going to do is overgrowth the defenses on the right side of these Root Riders so they path into the core and crush it out from the inside. And all that matters is a good minion prince ability that I'm going to do on this, I think, yes, on this fire splitter to freeze the back, and then you can see the healers now being protected even if there's any traps. Now we did get a bit of an unlucky move with the healers, but obviously minion prince and the pants can literally trigger every single trap off the base and not die. That's the crazy thing about the pants with this strategy, and I believe there is no other better equipment in this strategy than these exact ones. Now guys, on few of these attacks, I'm running the haste vial. Currently that I'm recording this video, I actually switched it up to the hog puppet, but okay, yeah, okay. So on this attack, I'm actually using hog puppet. Maybe I've switched on all these video recordings because I was doing this recording yesterday, but I'm recording it today. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But let's move on to the second hit. Now, some of you may be asking, like, how is the 3 invisibility enough? Like, some people take 7, 8, maybe even 4 at its best. But how do you take 3 invis and not have the haste vial? Like, what is the RC doing in these attacks? Well, guys, honestly, the strength of this strategy is that it's just crazy how the double rage works. And obviously, the RC walks are not always going to be the crazy values, okay? It's just mainly for funnel, and you're gonna see in this attack exactly, because my RC, I believe, doesn't get too much, so it's gonna be a bit toxic how this RC is gonna end up not getting too much value, because obviously there's a lot of defense and 2 heroes on this side, so I don't want to risk my Fox getting absolutely melted. So you can see we basically lost the Fox still, but we didn't get the defenses we were looking for. But the kind of funnel is decently set. So now on the other side, a lot of you know this, you go with the Siege Barracks, Headhunter. Now we do have Ice Golem, Queen Giant Arrow, and you can see how I activated both of those invisibility spells because it was the perfect angle. Some people don't do that. And now, guys, honestly, I had no plan for this base. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna spam everything into this mortar and hopefully they go for Town Hall, and they not going to, but I made sure they go. Just like the last base with the Overgrowth, I made sure we go into the core, and now with the Juicy Warden ability, we're gonna get through this core. And obviously, probably a lot of you watching this have done more Root Riders attacks than me, and that's the crazy part. Like, there was never a video that I brought to the channel, and I think I've not done enough than other people, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm talking in a way that, okay, sometimes I may not be the best in certain strategy, but I'm definitely not the best in Root Riders attacks. I literally started attacking with them yesterday, and I was like, you know what? On our channel, we don't have a Root Rider video because obviously I hate the troop. So I was like, you know what, let's just give it a go, you know, obviously, and we want to do different videos and different ideas, strategies and stuff, even though this is not exactly a strategy, but still, I mean, Root Riders are the strongest troop in the game. Like, you can't really argue anything about that, and it's tougher to defend it than dragons. And that's what I noticed in the last few days with my own attacks. Usually, with the dragons, I'm doing some time fails or very, very stupid fails. Now, let's go to some double poison, and this is where I told you, well, if you don't have the minion prince and you only have the king, your minion prince is upgrading, well, don't worry about it. We are going to attack with the king in this attack. And now, we have the spiky ball, of course, and the EQ boots, and also the phoenix. So the phoenix that is on your minion prince, that's when you drop it on that king, and you can see with the 3 invisibility spells, we're gonna have decent approach, and I don't know how my RC left the king because she switched to it. I just don't know how she left it. Now we're gonna take some damage here, but I unfortunately lost the fox. It was a bad invisibility timing. Obviously, if you're going into so much damage, you always need to make sure the fox doesn't die. Going with the giant arrow, nothing too crazy. Now this is where you can use the ice golem, skeleton spell, headhunter, a wall breaker, things that give you funnel from this side of the base so that root riders have access to the core, just like we did on the last attacks. Now, with the overgrowth on this one, because we have nicer funnel with the RC and nicer funnel with the Queen and Siege Barracks, what I'm gonna do is overgrowth the core in a way that we kind of skip past it and come back later to it. So you can see Valkyries and Headhunters absolutely crushing that enemy king. This is where I pop the Warden for that one loon that can test really good into the core. We do have the RC that is recalled into our main troops as well. You can see the overgrowth. If that was a rage tower on the left side, let it drop and then overgrowth it, okay? Don't do it too early. Now I did wall break the lower side for my queen in case the kings and the army doesn't want to go for the town hall, even though we overgrowthed it, but it's always good to wall break the queen into the town hall compartment. Now we're gonna move on with the rage spell, and I do have all the abilities from the king and RC even stacked for the back end, popping that king ability, getting those defenses done, and always put some barbarians, minions, and archers for the cleanup so you don't fail a 99% or a 98% in some of those, dragon attacks. You usually do that because you don't have enough cleanup. That's what I noticed personally, even though I used to pick like, 1 or 2 loon for the back end, 1 or 2 minion, but I always fell short, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna switch to root riders and not waste any more ranked potential. But let's move on to the 4th hit. So, up next, we have an invisibility rage combo base. This was kind of the bases that I believe General X brought to Legends League 2 seasons ago. So, people are still kind of doing some certain approaches with it. Like, they build around it. I don't know how, but I don't know how they think they still work, but they just don't, man. And this attack, I really wanted the RC to go to the right. So she gets the funnel set from the right-hand side, and we can spam into the Town Hall. So once she gets this ricochet cannon, she's going to go to the right. And don't worry about the Town Hall, guys. You're always going to take some damage when you're walking around it if you want to have nice invisibility timing with your Fox. Going to recall the RC, now going with the Siege Barracks, going to funnel the Siege Barracks with the Barbarian, popping that Giant Arrow hopefully in time. I mean, yeah, you didn't see a Giant Arrow because we don't have it on this account. I wasn't bringing it. Now, I sometimes forget when I'm switching to a certain strategy to switch all the equipments on every single one of my accounts. So you can see now, let's say you never had the Giant Arrow. What happens to the invisibility spell? Well, this is the beauty of this strategy and the strength of this strategy. Going to freeze to keep my queen alive. Maybe that wasn't the best call because she's going to end up dying anyway. But I'm going to pop the Warden ability and enrage so we get the Town Hall. And even if we skip all the core, we should be fine. But now you can see everything comes back, and this is where we pop the Minion Prince ability. I'm going to overgrowth later on for this side of the base, so we again have a path directly into a certain defense. It's not like we overgrowth the middle, like the monolith and everything around it, and then the troops spread. That's what you don't want. Every single one of the attacks, as you saw, the troops never split unless it was a very bad attack. But obviously, I haven't showed you a very bad split yet, okay? Everything is doing fine till now. And the magic mirror, the good thing about it is that, okay, if you're in war attacks, you don't need the giant arrow or CWO or tournaments because you can see the base. It doesn't have any invisibility spell. You don't need the giant arrow. You can have the magic mirror on the outside, absolutely crushing those defenses. And obviously, as I said, I know I'm explaining some certain things maybe a bit too much. Maybe you already know these, but that's just how I am, man. Let's move on to the final hit. Now you're like, hold on, TK, what about the bases that have very toxic core town hall? So the bases that have the town hall in the core, obviously they are with double poison, and these are the meta bases. But one thing you can always do is to get those early high value defenses with DRC and make a decent funnel. So in this case, what I'm going to do is to go for this side because we can easily get a free ricochet cannon, a free multi-archer tower, and hopefully the inferno if the RC goes nice. Now notice my invisibility spells, I always drop them slightly late so we take some damage, so we don't take damage afterwards and lose everything. Now I can see here that the fox is low. I was risking it for the biscuit, but we didn't get it. Now this is the beauty of giant arrow. You can clear whatever the RC didn't get if the base is not an invisibility tower. So you can see how we got that, and that is a decent funnel already. Notice, going with the poison tower and poison spell on the enemy king and the enemy clan castle, no time to waste. Going with the root riders, mini warden, valkyries, you can see the loons, the healers. This is the kind of the order to drop everything so you don't mess things up. Like if you drop healers then the loons, sometimes you may find crazy traps on the outside, or the same as the minion prince. Now this is where you need the queen to funnel the other side. If she doesn't, you need to get the overgrowth going so everything goes to the base. Now this is where you can see the minion prince usually end up going for the town hall because it's an air hero, but in this case it wasn't really doing that. So what I noticed is that, okay, you know what I'm gonna do is to overgrowth the top side, so on the lower side whatever is left it can still go back to the town hall if I get certain defenses done. But the Tesla farm was bringing us to the right, and my minion prince ended up actually going for the town hall. So these bases, guys, every time the minion prince goes to the town hall if you have a decent funnel, not the perfect funnel but a decent funnel. And that's the thing with the king. Sometimes I've seen and also I've heard that people are doing 1-stars when they're taking the king because the king always goes around, but the minion prince is air. Sometimes you really get that minion prince only thing that goes for the town hall, and that's the good thing about it. It can literally just crush it. You don't need to go through the core, and you don't need to go through that split with the root riders afterwards. And this is where the base is getting wrecked with 3 heroes alive. And I believe even if the town hall was up right now, everything has enough to get there. We have root riders to open the walls for our queen. We have the queen warden RC with the hogs, and this is the crazy crushing attacks for this strategy. And obviously, as I said, I'm not too proud to bringing this video, especially bringing the guide version of it as I'm like explaining certain tricks and methods. But I mean, hopefully you guys enjoy this. And if you're not doing the root rider attacks in Legends League, in High Legends League, and if you're doing dragons, and if you're failing, well, guys, obviously the dragons are not it in High Legends. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes there is some certain bases that they really trick you into losing those early trophies, and it's bad because the defense is heavy, and that's when you lose on trophies and you can never reach the rank you are looking for. So I mean, hopefully this strategy gets another nerf, and obviously if we get new defenses, or not new, like new levels of defenses, that's when I believe we are gonna have a nerf automatically. I just hope they don't get a new level. That's the main thing. And hopefully again you enjoyed this video, and peace.